why isn't my trust working? Hi, I'm Neil Tyra. I'm an estate planning attorney in Rockville, Maryland, and I do estate plans for regular folks like you and me. One of the selling points that attorneys often use to convince their clients to do a trust-based estate plan versus a will-based plan is they tell them that it doesn't involve the court system and that it's essentially a private contract between themselves and the beneficiaries of their trust estate. But what happens if the trust isn't working as you intended it to work? What recourse do you have? Can you then involve the court to try and enforce the trust document? And if so, wouldn't it have been better to have had the court involved in the first place from the beginning? Well, this is the kind of thing that happens, sadly, all too frequently. I'll give you an example of a case where a parent set up a trust for their adult children. However, they didn't take into account that these adult children never got along when they were little. And so they haven't gotten along as adults. And putting one of them in charge of the trust just created a disaster. That trustee has been dragging their feet intentionally and not paying out the proceeds of the trust. And the sibling who was to share equally in it is getting very, very frustrated because it's been now 3 years and you've seen no movement in that trust. That's a very typical example. In fact, it's largely based on a case that I have right now. So why wouldn't you use the court? Because when the court's involved from the beginning, there's deadlines and obligations that the trustee or the executor in that situation has to meet. So unless you have a very compelling reason why you want to use a trust, trying to avoid the court is oftentimes kind of a weak argument because you'll need it at some point and you'll wish you had it built into the process. If you want to discuss more pros and cons about using a trust versus a will, we're happy to chat with you. Our information is at the end of this video. And as I said, my name is Neil Tyra. I'm an estate planning attorney in Rockville, Maryland, and I do estate plans for regular folks like you and me.